welcome back to another episode of the Lonely Liberal Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Zankin, and it feels pretty good to be back after a 2-week little break there. Like a lot of people listening know, I got married and went on a honeymoon, so feeling good, feeling refreshed, and we got a great show for you today. Rick and I are going to go through the main news stories of the last few weeks, catch up, so everyone can kind of get back on track. It was nice not hearing about U.S. politics news for a few weeks, but we are back, and it is a fun one, so without further ado, let's get to it. And we are back. Rick, what's up? After a long little respite, a little break, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Congrats again. You're a married man now.
Exactly.
Congratulations. Sorry to disappoint the many single women listeners that frequently inquired about your relationship status. They'll just need to try a little bit harder, but congratulations.
Well, 50% of the pod team is still available on the market. So you know where to reach us at the Lonely Liberal Podcast at gmail.com. Send a headshot. And with it, and Rick will send back a headshot to himself. Yeah, they don't even know how you look, so it'd be hard to strike up a look.
Yeah,
just voice
so
alone.
Congrats. How was the honeymoon? Welcome back to the U.S.
Yes, it was great. We went to Greece, which was an unbelievable country. My favorite part, Athens was super cool just because seeing the Acropolis and I'm a huge geek for philosophy and stuff like that, and it was just cool to see all those spots. Crete, the island, was absolutely incredible. I hate when people just say, "Oh, dude, you gotta go," because everyone would obviously go to all the cool places if they could. You know what I mean? But I do think, if you're making a short list, Crete is one place that should be on there. It is unbelievable.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never been to anywhere in Greece. I really want to go.
You know what you think? How with New Zealand, you see the mountains and it feels like Lord of the Rings because that's where they filmed it. I think Crete is like a Greek New Zealand in that way. The island is very mountainy and cool beaches, and the food is awesome, and the people are cool, and it was a really cool spot. Yeah, Greece is an interesting place because Athens is surprisingly very gritty. I don't know if you would have expected that.
No.
Very, very gritty. A ton of graffiti. Very cool place. Very hipster vibes. It kind of reminded me, and they're gonna get offended, the Athens, like a European Philly.
Yeah.
Obviously with the Acropolis in the middle, which is a lot cooler than the Liberty Bell. But
Go
that
Birds.
kind of feel. Fuck the birds ruined my life. Have you ever seen the Liberty Bell?
No.
It's very small. It's unfortunately very small.
It's like their Plymouth Rock.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy. You look at it and you're like, oh, I thought it would be a big giant bell.
Yeah.
Pretty moderate bell.
Oh,
no, but yeah, Greek was it was nice to taking a break from just politics. It's incredible being in a country that isn't absolutely cannibalizing itself every single second of the day. But the catch-up was pretty wild. So that's going to be the format of the show. We're going to do usually we do a weekly roundup. We're just going to catch up everything from the last few weeks, the heavy hitters. We're playing the hits today. So people should, they may have thought about some of this stuff a little earlier, but you'll get to hear our, very wise takes on it all. You ready to go? You feeling good?
Yeah, let's do it. And before we get in, I just got to say, it was wonderful meeting a lot of people at your wedding that listened to the podcast.
We're probably listening right now.
I probably had at least a dozen great conversations about the podcast and politics in general and everything. It was really awesome. Just so many cool people and more people listening than I knew of. So, yeah, it was great time.
And it was also cool to see both Eric and Jesse, and we had the whole podcast fam. We should have took a pod pick. Everyone who's been on the pod.
Yeah.
We got to set that up. This whole show wouldn't be possible if we didn't have cool, smart friends. So we are lucky for that.
Totally.
But yeah, so so many stories to talk to. One of the big ones that had begun before we tapped off, but is still a thing, is the government shutdown. And yeah, it is now the second longest government shutdown ever. I saw a stat that 40% of all days that the government has been shut down has happened with Trump as president, which is unbelievable as a stat. But yeah, it's getting pretty intense because in November is when the SNAP benefits start kind of becoming up for debate, right? November 1st. So yeah, it's getting intense. The record is 35 days, which happened in 2018. So it's looking like it's going to pass that. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on like how long you think this is going to go, or in general on this thing?
I don't know. The annoying thing is like the time of year we're at. Like we're like what 3 or 4 weeks from Thanksgiving, and the U.S. Congress loves vacation. Like
More
I
than anyone
swear,
in the world.
I swear they work like 50 days a year because they're always, if there's like a federal holiday, they're off for the whole week. Like these people can't be bothered to do their jobs. But I feel like they're kicking the can down the road. And then even if they pass something, like if it's only a temporary thing for a few months, like they're going to reopen the government just in time for the holiday breaks, and then it's going to shut down again. Yeah, so I don't know. Like they had a vote last week that failed. They had 2 recent votes. They had one, which would be a short-term resolution to reopen the government, and then they had another one, which was even less than that, which just would have paid some of the federal workers that still have to work but have to go without pay. And that failed too, although weirdly enough, it wasn't strictly along party lines. Like it was mostly Republicans, but also John Fetterman. And then
Yeah, well,
voted
that guy
to reopen. Yeah. And then like Rand Paul and like joined the Democrats to vote no on it. So it's been some weird votes. I don't know what they'll come up with next, but yeah, really not much has changed since the last episode we did like 3 or 4 weeks ago about the shutdown.
Exactly.
With the Democrats, pushing to protect Affordable Care Act subsidies. So I'm not sure if this is going to end soon or drag on. What do you think?
It's a good question. I don't know. And what's really interesting about it is obviously a big part of the reason why the Democrats have chosen to, let the government shut down by not letting the conservatives get what they want, which, a lot of people are encouraging, is because they just wanted to just show some degree of spine to like prevent the, all these things that we're talking about, the healthcare losses, the cuts, all this stuff. But interestingly enough, since the shutdown, Trump's approval rating has ticked up. I mean, not that much, from 40 to 42%, even though most voters blame Republicans for the shutdown. Correctly, in my opinion. So it shows that somehow Trump is able, even though he, in his own words, that the government shutdown falls on the president, he's able to navigate this in a way where it's not affecting his approval rating, even though people know the Republicans are to blame here. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to end, but honestly, maybe it should if it's not going to, really do anything politically. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, because that's the point, right? Is to try to get some sort of political advantage to some extent on top of the benefits that they're trying to save.
Right. And yeah, like I am happy that, people are blaming Republicans more than Democrats, even though it's not a huge margin. But yeah, I was surprised when I looked at the approval rating stats and saw that he's still right around 42%. With disapprove at like 52, 53. Because if you actually look at his approval rating this whole term, presidents typically start out with a positive, decent approval rating, a little above 50, like right when they get into office. And then he quickly went down to what it is now. And there's been like fluctuations of like 1 or 2%. But other than that, it's pretty much the exact same it was in May. And we're at the end of October.
It's so
now.
sticky. Yeah.
So it's been like 5 months out of a 10-month term that it's been stuck at 42%.
Well, it's basically 90+% Republicans approve and 0%. You know what I mean? So it kind of averages out. It just shows so much how polarized the poll. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like nothing shakes people off. Like, because even like you said, like the first term with Trump, with Biden, they go up, they go down. They're usually a lot more mobile, especially with just so many big events happening, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? Like so many different things have happened. You think there'd be more reflection, but it seems like pretty much no matter what happens, he's just going to be around 40.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't see that really changing either, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Like, could it change?
Right. Like we're already deep into the Epstein files.
Recessions.
Yeah.
Like, like all this stuff.
Right. Already, like, people have already realized most of the tariff stuff is bullshit. And, he just throws out these numbers and never sticks to them. ICE has continued to escalate. So I'm not really sure, like, how that number is going to get under 40. Maybe if the government stays shut down and you see, like, these problems of the shutdown growing and growing, maybe we could see that.
Like people actually lose their SNAP benefits or something like that. Like,
right.
Yeah. That'd be awful, though. I mean, it's the classic situation that a lot of, people are in morally right now, right? Like that so much of MAGA is reliant on government support. So it's like the Republicans' actions directly hurts them the worst, but at the same time, these are still people. So it's like this very moral quandary of, you know what I mean? Like how to feel in these moments.
Yeah, totally. And unfortunately, it's that theme of what we've talked about before, which is that, when people think of welfare, they think of handouts to lazy people that are nothing like them, but then they're receiving benefits that other people think of as welfare. So it's like people only think of welfare as like this lazy government subsidy thing that they would never take, but they don't realize that they're benefiting from all these Affordable Care Act subsidies and SNAP benefits and other things that they just write off as like benefits and not like welfare or government.
Yeah, and it just shows that people just don't understand, civics. You know what I mean? Like have a good literacy of like what these things even mean. You know what I mean? Because they don't even know what these words are. Yeah, it's interesting. Biden's polls at their lowest was 36% in summer of 24. He ended around 40, so pretty low. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting to know too, because like approval ratings used to just be a lot higher before social media, I think, because just people just weren't this emotional, I guess, over politics. Because a lot of these old approval ratings you see in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, sometimes even low 80s. Like, I just feel like, is there a world where that could happen again?
Right. Like George W. Bush, I think, was in the high 20s at the end of his presidency, which is really bad.
Horrible.
Obviously.
Some of the worst ever, yeah.
Really, like, his whole last 2 years from the 2006 midterms on was just a terrible 2 years for
one of the worst. Yeah, some of the worst ever, yeah.
I mean, if you asked me before this Trump term started and you said Trump's going to do X, Y, and Z in his first 6 months in office and it's going to create mayhem, what do you think his approve rating would be? Like, I probably would have said 40 or maybe high 30s, like maybe go a little bit lower than now. But the fact that it stayed at like 42, 43, it's just kind of depressing, to be honest.
Yeah. It just shows you that this isn't working really, like moving the needle. Like, you know what I mean? Like in the sense of these actions haven't changed the way most supporters have seen him, which is just insane and sad. And speaking of things to show how insane and sad he is, while I was gone, we had a No Kings protest too. So a follow-up of the No Kings protest that happened a few months ago. I think this happened October 18th. It was in many, many cities across the country. The Republicans didn't like it. They said it was anti-American because, of course, they did. And yeah, it was a pretty big show out. Again, though, here we are now a week or so after. And do you think it did anything? Like, was it a good idea? I mean, of course, I think it was good to do it. But like, how do you feel about that?
I think it was a great idea, and my hope is that, like, the extent of... My hope is that, like, the effects of the protest are, like, a long-term thing, you know what I mean? And that, like, approval rating polls now aren't necessarily able to measure the impact that this protest and then future protests will actually have on voting patterns and everything. I mean, they estimated like 7 million people throughout the country went to these protests, which is crazy. And it wasn't just in big cities, like really small towns, like all around, like where we grew up and throughout the country had them. Places that you don't think of as turning out big street protests. The crazy stat I read about the Boston one was there was over 100,000 people there and 0 arrests, which seems crazy to me because every Red Sox game, which has 35,000 people, has like 5 arrests.
It's just
so you
unbelievable.
would think, just statistically, there'd be like a handful. But people were very well behaved despite, Trump and Mike Johnson and everyone saying they were like hate America rallies. They obviously weren't. So overall, I'm happy about it and the turnout. What did you think, and what do you think specifically about the messaging with no kings?
I like the no kings messaging because and it's something you and I have talked about on the show a bunch, that I like this idea of the Democrats and the left in general reclaiming like American patriotism and like the kind of why are the Dems not the pro-America party, or like, the patriotic party? And especially because Trump is so anti the Constitution and our norms and systems of governance, I feel like this is a great opportunity for the Democrats to rebrand as the patriotic party, because it's always bothered me that the Republicans get the American flag and the bald eagle and all that stuff.
Right.
Because it's not, and why? Like, why is it not patriotic to be Democrat? It's crazy. So, yeah, I think no kings is a good messaging because it's like, that's the point of the U.S., no kings, right? And it's so interesting because, a week later, though, you have Steve Bannon on CBS or whatever saying that Trump 100% is going to be president in 2028 again, and running again, and like this is going to be, and who cares, and blah, blah, blah. It's one of those things that like, it's the right messaging. Republicans are going to say they're overreacting and taking Trump's troll bait. But I mean, it's the president of the United States and not a troll. And if every single advisor says that's what they want, then I feel like there's no reason to not use that as a messaging and latch onto it. And so, yeah, I like that. We talked about this with the first No Kings protests. I wonder how effective they are in just like, do protests in modern society and in the U.S. Specifically actually do anything? Like, do they? Because clearly the federal government is not changing their behavior based off the fact that millions of people in the countries were rioting and throwing fits. But like, why is that? Are they not long enough? Are they not extreme enough? Is it because they just simply will never care no matter what? Like, do protests work better on the local and state level? Like, I'm just curious because we've gone, we were at the Occupy Wall Street protests when we were in high school. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing and they feel right. They feel like the right thing to do, but we don't see the results that like France does when they protest, and it's hard not to think about that.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think part of the reason in Europe, it's not just these people have a higher degree of civics understanding and motivation.
For sure.
It's partly that and education and everything, but it's partly that I just think the parliamentary system in general is more democratic and listens to the people more. And the fact that in a lot of European countries, like, there's methods to call for a completely new parliamentary election, like, and it doesn't have to be specifically once every 4 years like we have with the presidency. Like, I think that's very motivating because it's like, it motivates people to be like, we need a giant change and we can actually make a giant change happen this month. Like, if these protests get big enough, we can push like this one political party or whatever to form a new government or call for new elections. Whereas in the US, like, it's so regimented that like you have to wait to the midterms and then you have to wait for a new president. So I think that's part of it too.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah.
I'm just naturally so cynical that, I'd be lying if I said like I'm super optimistic about these protests. But like, I feel like a more realistic approach is just to acknowledge like they are doing something and they are important, and maybe we should just like have a little faith and like, accept it as a good sign.
Yeah, and I do think too that it does show, it's a good reminder that even though Trump, obviously won the election and whatnot, like, there are still millions and millions of Americans who are not like this. You know what I mean? Like, it can feel kind of daunting at times, thinking like, oh my God, look, especially when you see some of these more, ICE stuff or whatever. It's like, oh my God, how does this country actually feel this way? But then you remind yourself that, basically half the people don't think this is a good idea,
Right.
So it is nice to see, like, all these people really putting their heart out there and doing stuff like that. So yeah, that's true. And I think, overall, I'm glad that we're trying. Like I appreciate something.
Right, exactly. I feel like the spin from the right is always either this is radical leftists, violent Antifa communists, or it's these people are just lazy and have no idea what they're even protesting. Like, that was the big thing with the Occupy movement, was like, these are people who probably don't have a job and they don't even know what they're protesting. And you're seeing that with the No Kings too. It's just like, I don't even understand what these protests are for. And it's like, I mean, it's 2 words,
No Kings. And I do think that people should be more worried about Trump wanting to be a king / authority. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's so anti-American to be pro-king. So if you're against the kings and you didn't like the against the king protest, then you're either neutral to kings or pro-king. You know what I mean? Like, I like that framing of it. It's kind of interesting though, because you think that would be true with Antifa because it's anti-fascist, and it's weird that people are anti-fascist. Anyway, but regardless, nevertheless, yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if there'll be a new one. Again, I really felt like only Bernie and AOC were the ones kind of leading the charge in terms of mainstream politicians, like engaging with the No Kings protest. I would like to have seen more, corporate Democrats playing, but it is what it is. This is what we get. Some good news happened while I was away. There is at least a kind of framework for an Israel-Gaza ceasefire plan. Now, it should be said that since the ceasefire has been signed, I think 30 or 40 Palestinians have been killed, even though Israel says now they're really going to do it for reals. I'd say this is a pretty fragile deal that the U.S. helped implement, but a deal nevertheless. So, yeah, I think it's going to be something we're going to see how long it can hold, and will it hold? Do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, obviously it's good that there's something, but it won't be good if it immediately just breaks again.
Yeah, it's a small step in the right direction. It's not solving the war like Trump is portraying it as. It's Trump has said he's ended 8 wars or whatever.
He doesn't know what the word ceasefire means, I think. I think this is a foreign object for him.
Right, and like pretty much the only clear thing in the deal is a temporary ceasefire. Like, the rest of the deal regarding questions about Palestinian statehood and, most importantly, whether Israel will maintain their occupation of Gaza. Like, that's kind of the biggest question here.
Of course.
Like, those are not ironed out whatsoever in this. Like, they basically agreed to a vague process of what the future could look like, but just like we've seen before with this area, like, it doesn't mean that much until those things start happening, and we've already seen big bumps in the road. Like, one of the big ones from this past week was, this deal creates a framework for an international peacekeeping force to oversee the rebuild of Gaza. But there's no one can agree on who makes up that international peacekeeping force. And Israel's, I think it was their foreign minister, even criticized Turkey having any role in that international force, because he basically said Turkey hates Israel, so they can't be part of this. And I just see Israel saying the same thing about any Middle Eastern country. Anyone other than the United States, to be honest.
Basically, they think everyone hates them. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, like, that's the most crucially important details are completely unsolved right now.
Exactly, because that's what actually would lead to some sort of sustained peace, because that's, what's been evading basically the region forever since it started. I mean, since the 40s, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's something, I mean, with the amount of death and despair that Gaza has just had to deal with over the last few years, it's hard to not at least be happy that something is kind of being developed. I would like to see it get better. I mean, it's something I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot over the next few months just because it's so fragile. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, all it will be is one Hamas rocket, one Israeli airstrike, and the whole thing is off. Like, they can't break even a little bit, I think, or the whole thing will unravel again, which they seem to break the one with Iran sometimes. And Iran, will be like kind of eager to like be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like they can resolve these spats. It seems trickier with Hamas, obviously, because it's not a real government. So, yeah, it's a pretty big development. I mean, yeah, we'll see how it goes. And in another kind of foreign policy type thing, so kind of two interesting developments. While this happened, also, the U.S. put pretty big sanctions on all of Russia's oil majors. So this is pretty much the first big Russia energy move of the term, which, is a pretty big deal because obviously Trump and Putin's love affair has been well broadcasted. And, so it is kind of showing the point that their relationship is maybe more shaky than people like to say it is.
Yeah, for sure. And Trump himself commented on Putin, his negotiations with Putin, and said, even though the conversations are sometimes good, ultimately they just go nowhere. And I think that points to what we all knew, but behind closed doors, Trump is just behind closed doors, Putin is just flattering Trump. He's just complimenting him and giving him probably gold plaques of his face on it.
Exactly.
And other gifts. And because Putin is not a dumb guy, and he knows how to get in good graces, and it's worked unbelievably well. So far, him and Trump have gotten along way better than they have any business doing, given what Russia is doing in Ukraine. So like Putin's approach to Trump has worked great for Putin, but now it seems like Trump is just kind of getting sick of it and starting to realize like, oh, even though this guy seems to love me whenever we talk, like he is absolutely not doing anything to stop the war, and he just keeps escalating it and attacking Ukraine. So I think that is good. I mean, even you saw the Secretary of the Treasury released a statement about the sanctions on the oil companies, and he said, given President Putin's refusal to end this senseless war, Treasury is sanctioning Russia's two largest oil companies that fund the Kremlin's war machine. And that's like pretty strong language for Trump. Like if that came from the Biden administration, that would be what was expected. But to come from Trump's secretary, that's the first time I've heard that clear of a statement that Putin and Russia are to blame for invading Ukraine, which I know might seem obvious to some people, but like Trump really hasn't been saying that.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And yeah, I think it's just one of those things that's how he does deal. Like it's personality until it isn't, and eventually he's just gotten burned so many times by Putin in these flattering meetings that clearly now he's getting grumpy. And also, there was no way that Trump and Russia being buddies is like plays well to the Republican base in large. Even if they were willing to accept it and eventually kind of, send Tucker Carlson out there to admire Russian grocery stores, you know what I mean, to try to do good PR for them. Like, they tried their best, but I think that's one is just going to be really hard. Like, so they're okay with going to the norm there because it was a really hard stretch to make that the U.S. and Russia should be buddies, I think, especially on the Republican side based off of years and years of their rhetoric. I wanted to talk about these two things, too, because it's an interesting compare and contrast. So two kind of big trade developments this week, one with China, one with Canada. And interesting to see who you would think would be our big ally and who would be our enemy. One country is in good trade deal and a tariff pause to work out a rare earth, a mineral kind of trade deal. So this is happening. And one got a 10% tariff based off a TV ad. Which one do you think is which?
Yep, Canada's in the worst spot.
Yep, Canada got a 10% tariff based off an Ontario ad this week, whereas China is now sketching out a plan with the U.S. to do tariff pauses.
Wow, and that's the second piece That's the second worst piece of Canadian news after Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry announced they are dating this week.
Oh, my God. I wonder if they're going to send her to the moon, too. Or space. Or whatever.
Yeah. Throw away the keys.
Yeah, exactly. Send her off in orbit. You're going to hear me roar. She's so irritating.
It's these tariff things it's so unbelievable at this point how many times he keeps doing this, where he just tosses out numbers 50%, 100%, 110%, and they mean absolutely nothing. Like, it's hard to believe that Trump still believes people believe him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that in Trump's head, he's like, people are eating up these numbers and they just think I am this master negotiator.
Check the coffers. They love that word, coffer.
With China specifically, only 2 weeks ago, on October 10th, was when Trump said, in addition to the 30% I've announced, I'm adding 100%. So only 2 weeks ago, Trump said, I'm going to tariff China 130%. And then now they're back in formal negotiations this week. And the Treasury Secretary even said 100% is totally off the table. We're not doing that. So, like, it's just, what is the point? Right. It's just, it's going to end up being nothing.
Well, and what's interesting is, again, it's one of those things to keep in mind. And when he goes on his tour saying China is the big enemy of the country, we hate China, China this, China that, at the end of the day, China gets the trade deal because that's where they can make the most money. And our biggest ally, Canada, is getting punished for not loving him. So Xi and Putin have clearly been talking, and Xi is learning the strategy probably. And yeah, there were some comments about, Taiwan and the ASEAN, the ASEAN kind of meetings, which is like the counter economic organization in the region. What's also interesting too, and it's hard to not think about how this relates with the TikTok deal, right? Because TikTok is looking like it's going to get bought by all of the Republican heavy hitters, basically, right? Like Ellison, Murdoch, all the famous right-wing media. So I bet you that has something to do with this recent cozying up to China.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's also interesting is, like, these tariffs on China, again, before this week, they were supposed to be 130%, and they were supposed to go into effect 4 days from now on November 1st, and yet the stock market's been doing pretty well overall. Like, obviously, there's dips here and there.
Yeah, up and down.
But, like, if anybody believed the United States was going to impose 130% tariffs in 4 days on the other biggest economy in the world, there would be a global depression. Like, that's how clear it is to everyone that these tariffs are bullshit.
And, like, it's so interesting how the stock market has just really just doesn't even try to pretend that it's real.
No flinching anymore.
It's crazy because it was so sensitive the first few months, and they just have gone, no, we don't. The taco mentality has really just become the truth. Taco truth. Right. And yeah, I mean, we should try to get a stockbroker, a Wall Street guy on here to see what the hell they're thinking. It'd be great to pick the brains of one of these guys, because I would love to see what they do at Wall Street. They're just cackling in the room, just like, tariff. Right. Heat up, I guess I was going to try to say. Not get hot.
Yeah, one week.
Yeah, and Mamdani is leading basically every polls. The early voting started on the 25th. There's a good early turnout. The three, obviously, Eric Adams had dropped out, so it's Mamdani, Cuomo, and Silva. Silva has yet to drop out, and so we get to still see his beautiful beret every now and then. And yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that Mamdani wins, obviously. We're big fans of him around these parts, and Cuomo had to resign in disgrace for sexual allegations, so it's pretty easy non-endorsement with that guy. I wonder, obviously, Republicans that keep trying to say they're going to try to deport Zoran if he wins, which is unbelievably racist and terrible. But yeah, do you think this is going to go as it looks like, or how do you feel about this?
Unless the polls are way off, it seems like it's going to be a landslide. Most polls have Zoran up by 15 to 20% over Cuomo. It's roughly like 46% Zoran, 30% Cuomo, 17% Sliwa. And I'm sorry I keep harping on this. I can't get over the red beret. Every time I see a picture or a news, every single article covering this election, it's like, this is a vigilante dressed like Little Red Riding Hood who faked his own kidnapping in the 70s. And yet he's still wearing this dumb hat. It's insane.
It's like wearing a Batman mask. It's unbelievable.
Right. It's so insane. But Mamdani's up by a lot. They already had their final debate like a week ago.
And Zoran already beat him. You know, like he should be able to beat him again, right? But anyway, what were you saying?
Right.
Sorry, I cut you off.
I watched this hour-long interview that Zoran did with the New Yorker editor, David Remnick. And I was pleasantly surprised at just how difficult an interview it was and like how in-depth they got discussing policies and how you would pay for it. And it's just a totally different world from Trump and MAGA politics. Like, it's hard to understand that these two people are even in the same country in the same year.
Universe.
Like Remnick was asking Zoran like the most difficult questions. Like, you say you're a democratic socialist, but most people would attribute your views to social democracy, not democratic socialism in an international context. How do you explain that in the U.S. context? Like, that was the type of questions he was asking. Like, very academic, political science, policy-based questions, and Zoran answered most of them very well. And it was just like, I've never seen Trump talk for 1 minute about a policy. And
when he got pressed on illegal immigrants, he said they were eating cats and dogs and pets. I mean, this is this is how he answers questions.
10 years into running for office, and Trump doesn't have a healthcare plan. He couldn't even like steal John McCain's plan from 2008 or something. Like, he's so
or the
lazy.
999 plan from Herman Cain or whatever.
It reminded me of like, oh, this is how journalists should question politicians. Like, they should ask very difficult questions. Sometimes they might seem like gotcha questions, but like, if you're a good politician, like, you should be able to answer difficult policy questions. So I was both impressed at like how hard the interview was, but impressed by how well Zoran did. And it's just like the total opposite of MAGA politicians and their like, you know, total inability to talk about policy.
Zoran's special, man. He's special. He's a really, really good politician. You know, not only do I think his views are good and like I like his policies, his communication and like wit on the spot is really, really strong. You know, I feel like, you know, I've ranted about this so much on the show, like people are probably sick of hearing me say it, but like, out of the many reasons why I'm disappointed that the Democratic Party hasn't rallied around him, one of them is that they have a star here. You know, this is a star. We've been waiting for a star kind of to emerge the way Obama did in a way. And this guy I feel like could have been that star. He's incredible. He's very gifted as a politician. He's so smart, and his communication style is so strong. He connects with just a wide range of people. Like, these are the people that we need to be rallying behind and not, you know, photoshopping Gavin Newsom on a great white shark. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy that those two choices were in the same breath, and they said, yeah, let's go with the great white. Like, we're going to rally behind that.
No, totally. He's
crazy.
He's so, like, he has a lot of the same sort of pluses that AOC has, but I think he's even better of a politician at like connecting with all different types of people. And especially given like he's winning so much of the Jewish vote in New York City, while like all the attacks against him,
everyone and their brother,
anti-Semitic and anti-Israel and et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's all the slams against him. And people just aren't buying it because he's so good at like not engaging in that. Like, he doesn't dodge the questions, but he also doesn't do it Kamala Harris did, which is just like shamelessly run to the center.
Yep.
Like
and waffle live on these things. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like every question he gets about Israel, he doesn't just say, I love Israel. They're the best country in the world. Like
Exactly.
most other politicians in his shoes, that's what they would do. Whereas he like stands his ground and he's like, well, I'm running for mayor of New York City, so it doesn't particularly matter, but like I don't support the Israeli government. I just think it's a great campaign. So I think he'll definitely win. We'll see what he's like as mayor.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, all eyes will be on him if he wins, you know? I mean, it will be similar, I guess, to de Blasio in a way, because just, you know, style, you know, on the political spectrum, but it'll be even more different because, yeah, this will be a good proving ground. I mean, New York City is one of the most influential cities in the world, so having a leader like that will be I don't know. I just think he's so smart, man. I just think that he's just nailed the ads and the way he's got that Buttigieg style of like conversation, but he's also got the authentic kind of charm to him. I think he's awesome. I'm totally sold. I'm in love with him. I have a man crush on him. I think he's incredible.
And finally, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader of the U.S. House, finally endorsed him a few days ago. Took long enough.
Only took till a week before. I mean,
Chuck Schumer is still MIA though, and obviously Chuck Schumer's from New York, so it's not only is he the most powerful Democrat in the country, but he's from the state where the election is, and he's not willing to endorse. So Ron, it's
pathetic.
It's everything that's wrong with the party leadership.
Exactly. It's a perfect symbolism of the whole thing. It just shows you what they shouldn't be doing once again. Yet Daryl Schumer will be holding an avocado being like, these are $2.50 now. Like, man, all right, buddy. Over the last few months, we've been seeing a lot of gerrymandering, redistricting chat. Obviously, the Texas one was the big story for a while. California's thing is coming up with the election if they're going to redraw the maps. I think it's in early November, right? So that'll be something we'll be talking about in a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, to that, though, we've seen other states kind of follow suit. We saw Missouri, I believe, add a seat for the Republicans. And North Carolina did one. They've redrawn the map mid-decade now, which is supposedly going to net one for the GOP. And now Virginia is teeing up a bid, I guess you'd say, to redraw the congressional map. So now we're basically just getting a massive gerrymandering war happening with, I guess, the Republicans winning. But this makes me sick. And this is depressing that this is where this country has come to.
Right. Like, I feel like maybe some of the general public is just learning about gerrymandering for the first time. But like, really, the only change we're seeing is gerrymandering on steroids. Like, we're seeing a renewed enthusiasm to gerrymander out in the open.
Yeah, in the middle of the decade.
And brag about it. Right, and brag about it. Whereas it used to be like something that like you keep your mouth shut and you do it to like gain a slight advantage for your party.
Yep.
So it's nothing new. It is kind of sad that we're here, but like the Democrats got to do what the Democrats got to do. And if the Republicans and Trump are playing all these games with elections, like eventually you got to fight fire with fire, I feel like.
Totally. And I mean, now they already have netted 5 additional seats from Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina. So they've already are swinging it that way. And people are going to be listening. Obviously, the Democrats have done it before in, Maryland and Illinois, whatever. But like Rick said, they're typically on decade and more subtle, not usually so politicized in the immediate midterm election kind of thing. So this is weird, and this is no good. I mean, there's a chance, too, that California's bid doesn't get approved. I guess, Rick, here's a question for you. So say California's vote doesn't go through, right? So that's like the biggest state that hasn't gone through. What do you do, right? Like, if they've just gotten 6 or 7 more seats or whatever based off these redistricting, like, are we just screwed? Like, how does like every Democratic state need to like meet up and figure out like what do you do when it's happening such in plain sight and also, like you said, like kind of weirdly getting bragged about? And what happens if your state doesn't want to do that because of whatever reason?
Right. Like it's tough. And Yeah, and it's not an easy thing to do with so many, like, even California has so many Republicans in their state legislature, like more than people would think.
Mhm.
And New York's another one with, like, they often have roughly a 50-50 split in their state legislature, like, where most people would not think that. So, like, it's hard to pass these things. I think all you can do is kind of coordinate with the other states. But, like, there's not, like, my dream is for them to pass a national law that makes gerrymandering illegal and says it has to be through a randomized computer program or whatever, like, has to create maps that are normal shapes.
Exactly.
Districts have to be normal shapes. But unfortunately, because of technical electoral law stuff and because of the way that courts have ruled, I don't even think a law would do much. I think you probably need an amendment, just like with Citizens United and campaign spending. Like, to solve that problem, you probably need a constitutional amendment, which is a massive hurdle over just passing a law. So that's why I'm not optimistic about all of this and feel like, sadly, like, the Dems just have to fight this battle,
This kind of sad. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just an unfortunate bummer, I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
right? There's just and hopefully, something that can go back to normal, after
Right, like,
this.
it's not uplifting to be like, let's all get behind Governor Newsom, and because he's so great at rigging elections
Yeah, exactly.
to the same level that Trump is. Like,
Exactly. Like, that sucks. Like, I hate that. I hate it. Woohoo! They gerrymandered California. Let's go.
yeah, I'm not going to go door knocking for that cause.
It's disgusting. But, I mean, what do you do if they're just going to lose? You know what I mean? Like, they're going to auto lose if they don't do this.
Right.
It's to the point, right? So this is something that's been super interesting is that, so Representative-elect Adelita Grijala? Joe Consulate? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So she won the special election. Yeah, my bad, Adelita. If you don't mind, Senator Rep Adelita. So she hasn't been sworn in, right? And they were saying, oh, it's in recess. Oh, it's because of the shutdown. This is weird that she hasn't been sworn in. There's actually very few. There's no precedent for this. The only precedent was during Pelosi didn't swear someone in for a few weeks because the person literally requested to not be sworn in. She said, can we delay it for a month? So that's the reason why Pelosi delayed it. Obviously, Adelita is wanting to be sworn in. There's a lot of talk about, is this because this is the vote they need to release the Epstein files? Now you have the Arizona Attorney General suing to force the swear-in. So Mike Johnson will swear in. A lot of drama here. I don't know really what's going on, if it is the Epstein stuff or not. But again, it does kind of speak to shenanigans, I guess, with election results that may not be going favorably for the GOP.
Right, and to make matters even worse, what Speaker Johnson is doing, not only did Adelita win the election, but it was an election that took place because her father died, who was the representative, the long-serving Raul, who had that seat for a long time in Arizona. So it's like, it's bad on many levels. Mike Johnson just does not give a shit. And he's just saying, we're not doing anything weird. We're following precedent. Obviously, they're not. He even said, quote, "We run the House. She has no jurisdiction."
Real. Winning elections, you have no right to do the job that you won to do. It's unbelievable.
Right. I hope it's just another distraction and not like a sincere attempt to overthrow an election.
Well, it is. I mean, it's hard to not connect the Epstein dot, right? In the sense that obviously she's the vote that would be needed to release the Epstein files, right? The Massey
right, and she said like she wants to do that. Like she's talking about
that's a vocal part of her thing. Like she keeps going, they don't want to show the Epstein. So it's definitely I mean, we can't not talk about it, right? Like in relationship to this because of how weird Mike Johnson's being and with her vocally saying, I cannot wait to release the Epstein files, right? So
Right.
it's definitely suspicious and something that, I mean, I don't know. It's weird that the government shut down and this is happening, but it's definitely something to I feel like keep in the back of our head come next year when the midterms arrive. Another interesting thing that happened is, so Trump has sued the Department of Justice for $230 million based on the past investigations that the DOJ has done on Trump. And they want to pay a $230 million settlement. So the House Dems have probed, saying that they want to see what the hell's going on here. And there's a lot of confusion about this. I haven't seen a lot of good reporting on what's going on here, but yeah, it seems insane that the acting Department of Justice would pay the acting president a legal settlement for $230 million.
Yeah, it seems absolutely insane, but not surprising.
Isn't that like just corruption, like fraud? Isn't that just like how can the president, like, he's literally getting $230 million richer because he was investigated before? Like, can you even
Right,
do
and
that? Like, is that even a thing that happens? Like, suing the Department of Justice while you're like, that's crazy.
right, like he's basically suing his own department to give him $230 million. And then the top Democrats, like, they're not even trying to stop it yet. They're trying to just get any information about it. Like, that's how sketchy all of this is like they're trying to get a subpoena just to get the information about what this is all about.
Because, like, if it's because they've investigated him for the cases of fraud that he lost or his relationship with Epstein, whatever it is, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, because Trump had legal fees for being investigated by the Department of Justice, he's now going to get paid by his own group. What's so crazy is obviously, you know, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they'll give him whatever amount of money he wants because of the way they are. Like, he could just name his number, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, Bondi would give him $1 billion if he asked for it. There's no difference. It's just crazy how much he's been profiting from everything since, you know, the election. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, like, you know, people, especially older audience members, will know, you know, Jimmy Carter gave up his peanut farm because he was worried it could look like a conflict of interest when he became president. So he absolved himself from a peanut farm. I mean, think about that compared to Trump literally, you know, selling watches and cologne and guitars and Bibles and like crypto deals that completely benefit him and his family. Like, we have moved so far away from the level of decency and integrity that you typically saw with the president in terms of economic gain.
Seriously, like he technically gave you know, control of Trump's companies to his sons, but he also gave his sons negotiating power for government affairs. So, like, it's not even trying to separate these things.
Same with Jared Kushner, too. And also, like, Qatar. It's unbelievable. We didn't even talk about this. They give us the jet, right? He takes the jet, and now Qatar is having a military base in the U.S., right? Like, isn't that happening? Like, what's going on with that? Like, how is that not suspicious? I don't understand. Like, he has personally enriched himself to such a large degree, and it is obviously so corrupt. All the people who are so pissy about Pelosi, rightfully so, frankly, like, they should be equally pissy here. And then lastly, you know, we got one more news story that I wanted to talk about, and it is the ballroom heard around the world. So Trump has demolished the East Wing of the White House to start construction on his ballroom. Now, obviously, Trump had said there will be no demolition of the East Wing. Clearly, that is not true. It is destroyed. This ballroom is not only $300 million getting paid for by private donors. People are saying Apple, Google, all these tech companies, shocker, is literally going to be 90,000 square feet. It's going to be the size of the friggin' White House itself. He's building basically a ballroom the size of the White House that's going to be funded by the oligarchs of the country, the richest people of the country. It's mind-numbing. It's especially mind-numbing with the fact that 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and everyone basically has seen their economic situation get worse. We've seen the most layoffs, the most, files for bankruptcy out of all American farming in the last 15 years has happened this year. Like, we've seen just all the soybean drama with Argentina and all that stuff. Things have never been worse economically for so many people, and yet a golden ballroom is getting built, like, in our White House, while also literally tearing it down. So feels like a Versailles moment, #Versailles moment. But I don't know what else to say. What do you think, Rick?
It really is, especially to be doing this while the government is shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how the government's allowed. So a lot of people in the federal government are currently out of work and not receiving pay. But there are a lot of others that still have to work without getting paid. Can you imagine you're employed by the federal government in DC and you're going to work every day, not getting paid, and then you're seeing King Trump build a golden ballroom? Like, it's so dumb
so
and
unbelievable.
unnecessary and insulting to everybody.
It's like when he said, the only thing it can compare it to is, like, remember during I think it was either right after he won or around that, when he said, maybe this year for Christmas people shouldn't buy their kids 30 dolls. They should buy them only 2.
Right.
Or 1 million pencils and just 1 pack. Like, it's kind of just this do you really think the average American gives their kid 30 dolls? And pencils? Like, he's so like, I don't think he knows what people are doing, like what's happening in the country. I feel like he's so, like, his lackeys are just telling them that, like, the fountains are spewing gold and people are, like, popping bottles of champagne now because Trump is in office. Like, because he just assumes every single report is fake. Like,
Right.
I think he's so in a bubble now that, like, and he's so old and senile, you know what I mean? Like that, like, I don't think there's any level of reality getting through to DC, especially into the White House. I feel like it's never been more swampy and muddy in that way.
No, exactly. And it's never been more like a QVC ad. Just everything about Trump. The White House ballroom is going to look like a QVC display.
It's so tacky. Like, it couldn't be more kitschy. It's so, and what's so funny is Caroline Leavitt's getting some shit because she said the ballroom is the president's main focus at the moment, which is unbelievable with the current state of the country. I would think she's telling the truth, though. I bet you it is his main focus at the moment. I feel like
tacky is a great word to describe Trump.
He's so, the dude puts gold sparkles in his water. Like, he's so embarrassing. It's so cringy. And I just can't believe it.
There is one more story I want to get to.
Ooh, what do we got?
About George Santos.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Georgie boy.
So, our listeners may or may not know, but about a year or two ago, George Santos was this gay Republican representative from New York City. And it started coming out that he had lied about everything in his life. And that may sound exaggerated, but it's actually unbelievably true. He lied about literally everything that he's ever done. And he pled guilty, by the way, and he was facing 7 years, and Trump commuted his sentence. The actual charges he pleaded guilty to is fraud and identity theft. But this is just a reminder of some of the things he has lied about in his young, brief political career. He lied about where he went to high school and college. He lied about working on Wall Street after college. He lied about funding an animal charity and actually swindled a disabled veteran whose dog was dying. As part of that, he also ripped off an Amish dog breeder with a bad check. Here's where it gets wacky.
That's already pretty wacky. An Amish dog breeder with a bad check. That's an unbelievable sentence. Anyway,
this is where it gets. He said, quote, 9/11 claimed my mother's life and that she was in the South Tower when the plane hit. In fact, there was no evidence she ever worked at the World Trade Center, and she died from cancer in 2016.
Oh, my God.
He said his grandmother was a Holocaust victim. He said he had employees that died in the Pulse nightclub shooting. He said his niece got kidnapped. He said he was Jewish and later corrected it to Jewish.
Jewish. I still use that line. I'm Jewish.
He claimed he claimed he was a guest star on Hannah Montana. These are all lies, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
He used donor money to purchase OnlyFans content.
That's hilarious.
He lied to collect unemployment benefits and identity theft. He used campaign money for personal travel and Botox. I've just summarized it in one sentence. He lied about sick dogs, 9/11, the Holocaust, high school, college, his religion, mass shootings,
and how he spends his money.
Yeah, and donations. It's really like just everything in his life and every major tragedy in the country, he has a lie about it. It's amazing.
It's so unbelievable. And he got pardoned.
Yeah.
He got pardoned. And yeah, I mean, that's horrible. There's no other way. Can you think of someone who shouldn't be pardoned more? Like, what was the reason why he pardoned him? He said because he was a Republican? Was that the official reason?
He literally said that. Like, the reason was because he was a faithful Republican.
That's it.
Because he didn't lie about being a Republican.
The only thing he told the truth about was being a Republican. Oh my God. And
to say my grandma's a Holocaust victim and my mom died in 9/11, like, those are two whoppers.
That's as big as it can get. And then
those are two big ones.
Using campaign financing to pay for OnlyFans is unbelievable. That's like cartoonishly the worst thing you could use campaign financing for. Like, oh, should we expense this drink that we got at the bar? Oh, it's fine. Oh, should I expense my OnlyFans subscriptions with campaign money? It's unbelievable. And yeah, he got pardoned. And also this week, the Binance guy who, the former CEO of Binance, who was arrested for fraud, I think. He got pardoned as well. So he's on one with pardoning. I wouldn't be surprised if he pardoned P. Diddy. I feel like that's only a matter of time.
Right, exactly. And TMZ reported he's seriously considering it, which the White House denied. But yeah, I don't
White
believe
House
that
says
denial. Yeah.
Did you hear that clip? Speaking of which, I want to get the quote right before I say it. Did you see the thing that Caroline Leavitt said about Democrats like the other day? I was going to clip it for the show, but I'm running around like a madman. I want to read this because it's so unbelievably horrible. Do you know what I'm talking about while I vamp?
I don't think so.
I'm going to play this clip. I want to quote. This should obviously be something that would make anyone resign in this official role. She says here, this is in one of her briefings. I'm sorry. An interview on Fox. She said, the Democrat Party's main constituency is made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That's the quote. Like, that's 50% of the country she's calling terrorists and violent criminals. I mean, think about how much outrage, the basket of deplorables comment that Hillary made or the Mitt Romney comment that he made. This is horrible. And it was on live television, said proudly. Can you imagine if a Democratic, press secretary said something like that? The Republicans are like illiterate Nazis who are, spreading evil, like just something like that, for example. Like, they would be not only fired, they would be completely ostracized from all of politics forever. Like,
right. That's what right-wing media like Fox, that's what they tell their audience, is that Democrats are saying those things.
Exactly.
Even though they're not. But, like, that's why, like, after the Charlie Kirk shooting, you saw so many conservatives say I'm outraged and disgusted by Democrats disrespecting Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated when no Democrats disrespected him and all they said was thoughts and prayers like they do with
Democratic
everyone.
politicians. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like the literal Democrats, not just people online. Exactly.
Yeah, and their whole thing was like, the Democrats need to tone down their rhetoric, and then you have Levitt calling Democrats Hamas.
Hamas, illegals, and violent criminals. The main constituency. I heard that clip. She said it October 16th. I heard that clip and I was just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, this isn't just like saying like they're bad. This is like the worst group for most Americans to be compared to. Right? Hamas. It's awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah, she sucks, man. Oh, and lastly, I'm just looking at our notes. Kamala did a pretty big interview. What happened there?
Yeah, so she was asked if she would run for president again. She said possibly. She said, quote, "I am not done. I have lived my entire career as a life of service, and it's in my bones." Which is kind of, generic, vague politician
classic comment, yeah.
One of the things I really didn't like her comments on Biden, because at some point, I know Biden picked you to be his VP, okay? But at some point, you got to give up the myth that Biden was 100% mentally there. Like, this can't be a hill that the Democrats will die on when we're facing such a dangerous presidency and Trump.
Like
this, we can't be still refusing to admit that Biden was too old. Like
he was cooked.
So right. So
on.
They asked her about, were you concerned about Biden's ability to do the job of president? And she said, let's be more precise. There is a very serious difference between the capacity to be president of the United States and the capacity to run for president of the United States. So she basically said Joe Biden was too old to do a campaign for president against Trump, but he wasn't too old to run the country, which is just so dumb.
Sense.
It's so stupid. And I know campaigns are difficult, and I know that making speeches and traveling around Iowa all day, like, I know that's not fun, and I know that's difficult, but that shouldn't be as difficult as running the most powerful country in the world.
Yeah, you think?
Making speeches to people that love you shouldn't be.
Preparing for one debate. He had one debate that he completely bombed. He didn't even have many. He didn't have a primary.
He had one thing to do, and he turned in the worst performance in the history of the country.
He literally got ousted because of how bad he did. He was so bad. And then remember his interview he had with George Stephanopoulos? How do you even say this? Blah, blah, blah. I just said the most generic Greek. Blah, 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 blah. It's Stephanopoulos, right? Like,
yeah, that sounds right.
And they were like, this is going to be him proving that he's still got it. And everyone watching it went, he doesn't have it. This is it.
Yeah, he's trying to find it, but he doesn't have it.
He was worse. Like, it somehow made him worse. He's like, I'm going to drop out of the race, man. Like, he was just like, they were like, George is like, are you all right, buddy? And he's just like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm cool. He was so weird.
You guys like ice cream, man?
Dude, I love it, man. Oh, come on, man. He loves doing that. Oh, come on, man. He was always doing that. One thing I loved about Biden is they would be like, why did you open the borders? And he'd just go, oh, come on, man. Let's chill out, man.
He talks like a 60s stoner.
Why did they say that that's how he should respond? Like, he was coached to just do, oh, come on, man.
Oh, come on, man.
He always did that. We gotta chill.
Don't you take a couple tokes and relax, man?
Dude, he did that when he did the State of the Union after the Trump thing. He's like, we gotta settle down, man. We gotta chill. I'm like, Biden, what is this? And he did it every time. And every single debate.
He makes it seem like everyone's just like harshing his vibe.
Exactly. Like,
you're bumming me out, man.
Dude, I'm looking at this fucking blacklight.
Russia just invaded Ukraine. Oh, you're bumming me out, man.
Man, are you serious? Come on, man. Ew. It was such an interesting personality to develop in your
in his 80s.
in his 80s as president of the United States. Something he never was like ever. He just randomly started doing that. And no one was like, Joe, what are you doing? Why do you keep saying that? Cracked me up.
You sound like Tommy Chong.
Yeah, why are you talking? Yeah, why? Exactly. Why is he doing that? Yeah, and I mean, she didn't rule out running, Kamala. I wouldn't be shocked if she ran again. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, but I don't think she'll do well.
No, because I don't think she would have done well if they did a primary, actually, for her, because I don't think she's that. People don't even know who she is. I mean, now they do, but they definitely didn't at the time. That's the news. I think we covered everything. I should have asked you before, but do you have a culture corner for today?
I do have a quick culture corner today.
Amazing. All right, then we know what we need to play. We need to play.
It's time for Rick's Cultural Corner.
Thank you, Linda.
Linda, she's still got it, no throat clear. She's good.
Yeah. So I thought we'd talk about a funny but controversial topic, and this is like very relevant in our culture, I would say, especially in our age demographic.
Oh boy.
Children at bars and breweries.
Oh, this is a hot topic.
This is a hot topic. It's currently there are politicians in Massachusetts that want to pass new laws, basically making that illegal. Right now, so it's completely state by state, obviously. But right now, Massachusetts has kind of vague laws. So let's talk about bars first.
Yeah.
So like bars, pubs. Right now, the Massachusetts state law is basically, children can't be in. So if you're under 21, you can't be in a bar that doesn't serve food. And then even if it does serve food, they're not supposed to be allowed to sit at the bar. So they have to be at like the tables. But it's become like increasingly common for people to bring their young children to bars. And it's not really enforced. So I guess first, what's your opinion just in general about kids bring their kid? And let's stick with bars. So, an inside kind of dim lit bar or pub that serves food. What do you think about bringing your kids there?
Well, I think you have a feeling. I think you have
It's not sunshine and rainbows.
This isn't Mr. Rogers' house. All right, get the hell
Come
out.
on, man. The kids just want to drink, man.
They just like Miller Lite, dude. No, I mean, you know me. No, I don't want them there. I really don't want them there. I'm sure there are many kids who would be fine, and I do feel bad that, the 20% of children who could behave fine are getting punished for the ugly 80, as we'll call them, of kids. But I just can't risk it. And I just don't. They can go running. And, I don't like when things are running around.
That's true.
Especially in a small. I get very fidgety and flinchy when things are moving around quick, and I could just see a 3-year-old bum rushing around a place, just running. I was at a bar not that long ago, and a kid ran under my table, and I lifted it up.
That happened.
Oh, dude, I lifted my feet up like they were a rat. I got nervous. I didn't want them touching me.
You're probably unvaccinated too.
I know. Just I'm so, and that's another thing people should realize. It's my germophobia, which is a big part of why this is the way I feel. I don't want them running around. I don't like the screaming. I don't like, and me and you like to use a lot of colorful language when we're out. And I don't like when people go, dude, there are kids around. Like, I hate that guy. I don't like having to think about that. If I want to let it ride, a lot of blue language, as they could say in the 50s. I want to let it fly,
Totally.
I don't like having to worry about that stuff. And yeah, I mean, at a bar in particular, where it's supposed to be a laid back environment, I feel like you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree, or do you think I'm being a Scrooge?
No, I think I agree. Like it's thinking like, should I be censoring what I say because there are children running around everywhere when like you're going to a bar where the whole purpose is to drink alcohol, which you can't do if you're under 21. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no, I agree. I think like it's kind of, I think probably like a time-based law would probably make sense. Like there's this chain near us, King's Bowling, and they have like bowling and pool and stuff. There's a few locations. And they'll do the thing where it's like after 7 on Friday and Saturday nights, you can't have kids there.
And
I think
mean,
that kinda
makes
makes
more
sense.
because there's an activity like bowling is a family event. Affair.
Right,
So
and if you're like at a bar at 1 p.m., like you kind of got to deal with whoever's
yeah, you want to, yeah, exactly. You've got other fish to fry, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, exactly. I think that's fair. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I was on the plane. I was wondering if kids should even be allowed on airplanes the other day.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to do though, but yeah, no, I think in a closed bar, I think, yeah, you're right. A time-based system is probably the fairest.
But the
Parents are
more-
probably going to be pissed right now because they're going to go, "Oh, where are my babysitters?
No,
are
I think-
expensive and blah blah blah." I think a lot of people are going to be mad.
I think most people will be with us on that. I think the brewery discussion is really where it gets controversial, and that's been the controversy en masse recently, is that like we've seen this explosion of breweries. Like now it's not like you have to go to Boston or Cambridge. Like all the suburbs, like every suburb has its own craft brewery.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
And so there was this article in Axios Boston called "Massachusetts Breweries Limit Children After Behavior Problems." And the writer said there's a growing tension as breweries grow from specialized beer halls to full-blown public meetup spaces. They fill a void between full-service restaurants and the more casual experience of 21-plus bars where kids wouldn't be allowed. So he basically talks about how the casual atmosphere and especially board games too,
Yep.
which are usually available at breweries, like
Cornhole.
they're almost encouraging you to bring your kids. But some breweries have started implementing different rules. Notch Brewing in Salem goes 21 plus after 6 p.m. Castle Island Brewing in South Boston is 21 plus after 8 p.m. And then Bog Iron Brewing in Norton made a rule that children have to remain seated at their parents' table because there's been too many instances where kids climbed on furniture and threw rocks at people.
Kids suck. That's the parents though on that.
And
game.
you can also bring dogs to a lot of these too.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think I'd rather a kid than a dog.
Yeah.
You know how I feel. I'm not anti-dog to the listeners. I know that, half the audience just clinched the leash, but like they love their little spot. No, I like the dogs. I just don't like how people act with their dogs in public places. Like
Totally.
everyone assumes that I'm okay with the dog touching me and licking me, and I'm not. I want that dog so far away from me. I'm comfortable with dogs I know, like people. I don't want to get pet by some random guy. And I don't want to get licked by some random dog. I need to know the dog. I need to know the owner if I want to play. And people just, oh, he's friendly. He's friendly. Why would you say anything else than that? You're not going to go, oh, yeah, he's vicious. He's going to rip you to shreds.
Right.
I hate that. I hate that everyone assumes that I'm okay with the dog jumping on me. Whereas I feel like if a kid jumps on you, like everyone knows that that's awful. There's no need to pretend.
Yeah, the dogs are always friendly until they're not too. It's like
you don't know when.
They're not going to give you a warning. Like you're not going to be like, that dog is staring me down.
Exactly.
Like,
that dog's been snarling at me for hours. Yeah, exactly. And I have a family dog, very cute dog. I like dogs. It's just when they can tackle you. I don't like that. I think the time thing works really well in this case too, right? I feel like the time actually is just a good solving thing.
Yeah, so like no dogs or children past 6 p.m.
I think no dogs, period. I think children can stay until 6. I just don't know why you would, like, animals are so gross. I just don't know why you'd want one. But people pay for it, you know? They like the kitty cafes with cats all around.
But the thing with, and this might sound harsh, but like children and dogs don't want to hang out at breweries. Like
No.
I think the parents convince themselves that they do because they're like, oh, our children, whatever, they'll play a board game.
Yep.
And like, oh, our dog, like we can hang out with our dog, so our dog must be enjoying it. And it's like, well, I think the dog would rather be at a park than like on a leash around 200 people in a warehouse.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I know Delia, a friend of the show, who's been on the show, she likes to do this. So she's probably growling at me right now because she loves taking her family to the brewery and they have fun. But I'm telling you, first of all, not all of the kids are as cute as your kid. And also, second of all, it can go south so fast, you know? But I guess it does, though, like, is it a slippery slope argument? Like, you start forbidding the kids, so then can you forbid people with, you know, crime? I don't know. Like, I guess, like, the age thing because of the alcohol in particular. Also, it might not be great to just be around kids watching you get shit-faced all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, where do you hang out with your parents? Oh, they just drink on a picnic table. And I run around.
They work during the week, and then I watch them drink in a warehouse on the weekends.
And I just run around in circles until yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know. I think overall I rather kids than dogs, and I definitely rather kids than unleashed dogs.
Yeah, and I think the time thing is good, but I think it needs to be moved earlier. Like 8 p.m. is way too late. It needs to be like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
like,
I think
it's okay if breweries, if you go at 1 p.m., you can bring your kids, but I mean, it gets dark around here at 5 this time of year.
Especially in the colder months. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's fair. I wonder what people think. Let us know what you think. I mean, I'm sure you're all going to yell at us because everything we get yelled at.
Yeah, please write us in. I feel like this is a good topic because everyone has an opinion on it, right? Because even if you don't like beer, you probably go to a brewery once every week.
Well, I wish there was more like cocktail versions of brewery vibes. Like, I love the brewery vibe. I'm not a big IPA. You know, I like ciders. I'm not too much of a wuss for like thick beer. I'll drink. I mean, I like some beers, but I'm not like a big beer guy. So like, but I love the vibe of breweries. I wish I could get like a gin and tonic at a brewery. That would make me happy, or like a Moscow Mule or something like that. Like, I don't know why cocktail bars have to be fancy and breweries get to be cool and hipster.
Right.
Like, why can't we switch the vibe? Why can't there be? Should we have the liberal pub, lonely liberal pub, and it's a cool?
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll do a fan meetup. That will be a pretty big commit. The not so lonely gala. But it's a good one. I think, and it's funny because, like you said, like with the breweries in particular just popping up so frequently, this is going to be a topic, you know, over and over again. I was at the mall the other day, and I saw people playing cornhole in the parking lot because there was a brewery in the mall on the outside, and I was thinking like that would be my low.
Yeah.
Is that mean? Would you do that? Would you play cornhole in the mall parking lot?
The Burlington Mall. With the sounds of I-95 zooming past you.
Is it you with, you know, Haley's Comet blaring on the radio? Is
terrible.
Is that not The Bad Place where me and are watching The Good Place? You know that show with Ted Danson?
Yeah.
That feels like The Bad Place.
Yeah. That's not a great time.
No.
It reminds... Remember the Lawn on D?
Oh, yeah. Boston? That was really trendy with the swing.
Right. That was similar in that, like, it feels like it's for people that live in the city that never go to barbecues or cookouts.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Let's give you a watered down version of that.
Like
It's kind of what it is.
Yeah, like a sad imitation. Yeah, like the Disney World of a barbecue.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I think it's a good one. I'm really curious what people think. I'm curious what everyone thinks about everything. And yeah, we send in your questions. We want to hear what everyone thinks at thelonelyliberalpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, we'll be back to normal schedule Wednesday, Sunday. It's good to be back. Feeling good. I feel like we had no rust either. I think we brought it here.
Yeah, right back to it. Love it.
Right back. It's muscle memory now, baby. This is it. This is life. But anyway, thank you per usual. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you, dude.
See it.
And that's our show, folks. Thank you so much for listening today. If you like the show, please give it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen, YouTube, like and subscribe. Please comment. Let me know what you think of the show, the stuff we talked about. You can also send us an email at thelonelyliberalpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, we'll be back on a normal schedule, so you'll hear from me in a couple of days on Wednesday. And yeah, back to normal, baby. I'm happy to be back, excited to be back, missed you guys, and yeah, looking forward to it. So until Wednesday, I'll see you later. Bye.